Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped. Now, I always love it when I get invited to a car launch in or around the Newbury area because I can bring the car here, one of my favourite backdrops to film against, next to one of the best reviewing roads I know. That is Chain Hill, and that is the facelifted Kia Sportage. Now, the Sportage is Kia's best-selling car and one of the best-selling cars in the UK. I've always liked them. They strike this balance between a good-looking car, really practical. I was this close to getting one as a long-termer back in the days when I worked with the Hendy Group. But in the end, last minute, it got swapped out for a Nero. So I've been really looking forward today for two reasons. One, just to get to drive one and see what it's like, but also to see how Kia have improved a car that is already so successful for them. So we're going to start off at the front, and only a couple of minutes into the video, I'm going to hit you with two bits of Kia design language speak. First things first, they've brought the car's design language in line with their opposites united philosophy that we see across all of their EVs from EV3 and so on. And the front end is also much more of a digital tiger face. That's the last two bits of design speak. But what that basically means is, especially the front light cluster and this combination of lights here, is bringing it much more in line with their EV range, and I don't think that's a bad thing because I really like what Kia have going on at the front end of their car. This new grille, a little bit busy, but I think with this beautiful coloured paintwork, I'll talk about that in a moment, and the black kind of contrast, the front end of the car looks fantastic. And I've got to say, Kia are another one of these manufacturers that have some really good number plates, and that one is pretty close to Sportage, don't you think? Moving down the side of the car, first things first, this new facelift Sportage is a little bit longer than the outgoing model. It's now just over 4.5 metres long, so that'll give us a little bit more space. But the striking feature for me that I noticed straight away is the new wheel design. Again, brings it in line with things like EV9. I don't think that's a bad thing, and it ties in really nicely with what they've done to the front. Down the bottom here on the sill, that's a little bit different. Interestingly, they had a car in the venue where we collected these from and are doing all the kind of hospitality that had side steps. I thought that looked really smart and very, very useful. And then if we come down here, as the windows kind of come into this teardrop shape, this bit of trim here in the old model was chrome. It's now black. It ties in with the roof rails and the black surrounds to the windows. I just think it looks really smart, but my favourite view of Sportage has always been the rear. Now, I'm pleased to report they haven't messed around with the rear too much. There's a new design for the lights, but I've always loved this kind of camtail design here. One, it's good for aero, but two, it's also good for internal space. But one of the reasons that Sportage is such a successful car for Kia is its practicality. So with the seats up, you get 591 litres of boot space. Drop the rear seats, 1,780 litres. It's a cavernous car, this. Really, really practical for a family. You've got a little bit of underfloor storage there for your gubbins. But yes, very practical. Let's jump in the rear and see what the passenger comfort is like. Loads of room. I'm going to say it again, regular watchers of the channel, apologies for this. I am 6'3" and I have a 34 to 35 inch inside leg, and this driver's seat is set for me as the driver, and I have plenty of room. There's room under the seat for me to put my feet. My legs are rubbing up against that seat a little bit, but I'm super comfortable. Now, this car is the GT Line S trim, so the top spec model. So we've got the most plush interior, this lovely two-tone, two materials. So you've got a mix of leather and Alcantara, and it feels really special in here. I've got some heating controls there, nice things like little power USB-C sockets. in the back of the seat. I've got a little hook there to put, I don't know, a coat, I guess, or across the back there. It's really nice in here. And then I've got a panoramic roof, just sheds lots and lots of light in here. There's a full blind that goes across there if you don't want the roof to be giving you lots of light. But yes, very nice. And then a really nice premium feeling headliner as well. Let's jump into the driver's seat and we'll talk about the updates up front. Ooh, comfort entry. Now, the good news continues up here as well, because they've done to this what they did to EV6. So they've got the latest updated steering wheel, which is just so much better than the previous one. And they've got rid of all the horrible shiny black plastics. They've got this nice material here. It doesn't look like it's going to be a magnet for fingerprints. It just looks more premium. I've got a nice bin there to put stuff. I've got their clever cup holders that kind of spin out if you want to put a cup there, or go back if you don't. And then, happy to report, lots of physical buttons. I've got my heated and vented seat controls there, my heated steering wheel, all on physical buttons. If I just start the car, now we'll talk about the engine options once we're out driving, but I've got the display that I love most about Hyundai and Kia, this one that changes its function from your main sort of home map search, or you can turn that into your HVAC controls, and you have 2 rotators for your temperature, so it's all physical buttons. On the steering wheel there's plenty of physical buttons. You can turn off ADAS really easily. Push and hold the star button on here, and I've configured that to turn off speed bong. Push and hold lane departure, and that's your lane departure switched off. It's really nice, very tactile. There's a wireless charge mat for your phone just there. So all in all, everything I would want in an interior I've got that physical tactility, that kind of analog versus digital. And then these seats, they look great, they're very comfortable. So I think the next thing we need to do is go and explore Chain Hill, and I'll talk to you about the different engine choices for Sportage, because yes, it is not an EV, and also the different gearbox choices as well. Okay, let's start the driving part of the review in Eco mode. The car has 3 drive modes: Eco, Normal and Sport. And let's talk about engine choices, because at the moment Sportage is available in 2 different engine formats. This is the 1.6 litre turbocharged petrol, and this is available with either an 7-speed auto or a manual. There's also a hybrid version, an HEV, and then coming soon is a plug-in hybrid. Now, both the hybridized versions of Sportage are only available in automatic. This car's also front-wheel drive only, but you've also got the option of four-wheel drive and front-wheel drive depending on the model variant and engine variant. I have to say, straight off the bat, the ergonomics in this car are really good. The driving position's nice, there's a good amount of visibility, and I like the view in front of me. I love the steering wheel and the updates and upfresh in the cabin. It just makes it feel a really special place in here. I'm never a big fan of driving cars in eco mode, other than when you're on a dual carriageway or motorway and you just want to get a little bit more fuel economy. I find them always a little bit dead to the throttle and a bit uninspiring. So I think the next thing we do is there's a drive mode selector on the steering wheel. We'll just go up into normal mode. I'm still in the auto change box. I'm letting it do its own thing. If you start being a little bit more aggressive with the throttle and pushing on a little bit, the gearbox starts to have a little bit of a baby. It starts to kind of kick down and isn't quite sure what you want it to be doing. But I've got some nice bends ahead, so just very briefly, I'm going to put it into sport mode, and I'm also going to start using the paddles. You'll hear that kick down then. That was just the auto box doing its thing. As we come into this corner, I'm just going to come onto the brakes and I'm going to go onto the paddles and change down into third, and the downshifts are actually pretty good and pretty crisp. The thing that you will find a little bit lackluster is, at the end of the day, this car's only got 147 horsepower. So when you pull out of the corners on the throttle, it doesn't have, you know, performance that's going to end the world in amazement. It's just enough to give you a little bit more of a sporty feel. And I always have to adjust my compass, if you like, the thing that I judge cars on, because I get to drive so many high performance cars. I'm lucky in that respect. And when you get to drive a car like this, it's not really what it's about. This is a practical, good looking family car. Now, if you don't touch the paddles, the car just reverts back to being an automatic. It takes sort of 10 to maybe 15 seconds. I'm still in manual. Eventually it will go back. It takes quite a long time, which is good, actually. I can't find a way of forcing it to stay in manual, which is a little bit annoying. If you want it to go back into automatic, if you just push and hold one of the paddles for a few seconds, it's now going to change gear for itself. Now, trim-wise, there's a little bit of a reorganization of the trim spec. So instead of sort of level 2 and 3 and then GT line like they used to have, they've simplified things down. There are now 3 trim levels of Sportage: Pure, GT line and GT line S. We're in the GT line S. Now, in terms of pricing, the petrol car that we're in starts at 38,850, and this car is £40,850. Now, my challenge with that is, and I find it really, really interesting. Look at this red kite there. Wow. I find it really interesting that manufacturers, I'm sure they are aware of the £40,000 threshold that tips a car into the luxury car tax bracket, because as soon as you do that, it has huge implications on the running costs of the car for the first 5 years. And the car we're sat in isn't even £1,000 more than £40,000. And that means I'd be paying luxury car tax. Now, this beautiful paintwork, it's called Magma Red. It's a lovely colour. It's a £675 option. If I didn't spec Magma Red and went for a no-cost option paint, this car would be below £40,000 and I wouldn't pay luxury car tax. Who in their right mind's gonna do that? Unless there's a deal to be made, I guess, that brings the car below the £40,000. So I just think manufacturers, I know that their price, that there are many drivers that deliver the price that we pay on the forecourt, but surely it makes sense to try and make your cars be less than £40,000. Now, the hybrid variant of this is from around about £34,500 to just over £43,000. So again, the top trim specs of the HEV are going to tip into that £40,000 luxury car tax bracket, and I haven't seen pricing for the plug-in hybrid, but I'll tell you now, it will be. I would imagine a GT Line S version of that's going to be, I don't know, 45 grand. And that makes a big difference. So just something to bear in mind. Do you get a lot of bang for your buck? Well, this car at, let's say, 40,000 quid feels really premium. The choice of materials and the build quality and the fit and finish is excellent. Really, really excellent. I've got all the tech I would need, you know, heated and vented seats and, you know, heated steering wheel, and other things in here include, there's another red kite. There's lots of them around. There's 2 of them there, look, 3. So other things in here, there's an updated head-up display, which is very good. And the highway driver assist feature in this car, again, has some extra functionality. So it's not only adaptive cruise control, but the car will change lanes for you when you're on the highway, you know, on the dual carriageway or motorway and that kind of thing. And I always find when I'm in a Kia and you've got a longer journey, that highway driver assist function just makes the journey so much less fatiguing. It really is a great feature. So yeah, all in all, I've tried to do this almost a bit like a kind of one take, really, just giving you my impressions. I don't have a massive amount of time with the car, but I really, really like it, and it's not disappointed at all. As I said, I've always liked the styling of the Sportage, or certainly the generation this replaces. It wasn't so great before that, but I think it's one of the most, if not the most handsome car in the Kia range. I like EV3, 5 and 9, that kind of chunky Judge Dredd look, but this just has it's just a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more stylish, a little bit less in your face. It just looks classy, and the green that they do in the Sportage just sets the car off a treat. I really, really like that one. I'd love to have a go in the hybrid variant, and really interested to see what the plug-in hybrid brings in terms of all-electric range and overall usability. The plug-in hybrid thing for me, I say it all the time, it's a great gateway drug. If you're not feeling confident enough to jump into something like EV3, EV5, EV6 or EV9, I guess for this car it would be kind of EV3, EV5? I'm trying to think what the equivalent would be. I'm sure someone's going to help me out in the comments. But the fact you can buy it with a petrol engine is just mega, absolutely mega. And when you're on a lovely bit of road like this, it's got enough performance to put a smile on your face. It's a very, very competent car. It's not a high performance sports car, but it's got nice brakes, the steering feels good, and it just has really good road manners, and yeah, I like it a lot. Anyway, what do you think of the new Sportage? Are you a Sportage owner? Do you like yours? Would you be tempted by the new one? I'd love to hear your thoughts on the price point as well, and this whole £40,000 tipping point. You know, it's a UK specific thing. Luxury car, it's not called luxury car tax, but you know what I mean by that. Anyway, if you enjoyed that, please give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come, and I'll see you on the next film. You take care, guys. Drive safe.